can't tell if this is on. Everybody hear me okay?
It's a little weak, I'm not getting much of it.
Well, I can certainly talk louder.
Okay.
And if you'd rather,
It is working, but it's, I don't know if it's picking up your voice.
Let me see if I can make everybody hear me.
Okay, thank you.
First and foremost, without reaching the merits of the complaint should be considered moot. If you look at the ordinance, the disciplinary action that can be taken under the ordinance is in Section 13, Part B. And these address what can be done under appropriate circumstances to a city official. The point is that Tina D'Aversa has been voted out of office. She is no longer a city official. Were she still a city council person, then by all means, this would be appropriate to go forward and talk about whether any action is appropriate. But the fact is that the voters have already done pretty much anything that the board would be empowered to do. Tina is not a city official anymore. The best, most reasonable resolution of this, without getting into testimony, without deciding who's right, who's wrong, what happened, would be to dismiss this complaint as being moot. I am certainly prepared to go forward. We're ready to defend on the merits, but I would certainly, if it would be appropriate before doing that, I would ask the board to consider a dismissal without reaching the merits on that ground. That there is simply little that the board could do that hasn't already been done at this point. It would be meaningless to spend the next 2 hours discussing something that has no efficacy as far as addressing a city official. If I were in court, I would move to dismiss on those grounds. I have read the procedure. It's it's vague. I understand that the board has wide latitude to handle these things, but I would ask the board to consider a dismissal before going forward at this point. And if the board wants me to address the merits, I'm certainly ready to.
Thank you. I believe that we, are you saying that you are putting forth a motion to dismiss based on the moot question?
Yes, sir. If the board would entertain a motion like that, and again, I read the procedure. The procedure was very indefinite about how you do these things, but I am, in whatever the appropriate manner is, I am asking the board to consider dismissing the complaint without reaching the merits based on the fact that it is moot due to the results of the election.
I will agree with you on some, for my own feelings on this. I will agree with you about B2 and B3, because I don't think 3 applies. But I believe that B1 and Section D still, or Part D of Section 13, still do apply in this case. I'm not a criminal lawyer, obviously, but if someone has done something improper, dishonest, or illegal, the mere fact that they're not in the position which they committed the crime or broke the regulation does not govern any further. Does anybody on the board want to discuss this further?
I'm in agreement.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman? Before the board actually starts conducting some business, I have one housekeeping item that I didn't get a chance to address earlier, and that is that at this point, the complainant is asking that Mrs. Cawley recuse herself. I think there is ample evidence that Mrs. Cawley
Yes, sir. I mean,
We'll bring it right back, we won't even have.
And again, the procedure, I think the board can handle this any way that
Yeah.
there's no procedure. I will say this, we would certainly object to a recusal unless there's some grounds we're not aware of.
And I accept your objection, and understand it, and we will discuss that, but if you would withdraw your motion for the moment, I would like to, discuss this and address it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Scott, if you come forward to the microphone, please. I would like to, discuss something about recusal. Recusal is a personal thing involving the person that's going to be recused. They have a choice. They can do it, they cannot do it. It's A or B, very simple. Now, no one can be forced to recuse themselves. However, should it appear later on that that individual did have a biased interest, then the failure to recuse would be considered in prosecuting against them, and could be considered to be an ethics complaint. However, we cannot request someone to recuse themselves.
Well, Mr. Chair, I'm asking her to recuse herself.
Correct. That's good wording, I understand that, and we'll discuss that now.
I would be more than happy to make a statement.
Yes, go ahead, please.
My intention is to strictly provide an impartial and fair decision on this case and any case based on facts presented. Unless I am mistaken on the definition of a double standard, then my participation in this hearing should not be contrived as some individual who is going to be persuaded or influenced by a relationship with anyone on council. In addition, there are other board members who are sitting here next to me who also have relationships with the complainant and one of the witnesses. So my intention, like I said, is to strictly provide an impartial and fair decision on this case and all cases moving forward.
Thank you. I'm going to make my statement as the chairman. This has come up before, recusal of board members. My statement has always been, this is a very small town, and unless somebody has committed a crime, recusal is not a good idea. Personally, I will admit to the fact that I support